Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster. I'm sure, like me, you're pretty excited about this weekend's action with the three-day Cheltenham November meeting very much ahead of us. And I've got two selections for you on Saturday, free here at Sportsbet. One at Cheltenham and the other one at Wetherby, the A1 track. If you're new to this channel, I'm always tipping horses at really decent each way prices. So if you're interested in looking at horses that have an each way chance and could really make a bob or two for you, then just click the subscribe button just below this screen and then you'll get all my thoughts on my selected races absolutely for free. If you're interested in more extensive tipping advice from me, then at Out in Front, where things have been going really well of late, you can get tips, not just a couple for Saturday. I have a further four tips for clients at Out in Front with us tips. Also Friday and Sunday, and as we build up going through the winter and all the big meetings, I'll be covering them extensively. So very well worth thinking about joining us. It's really good value, and the link to join and sign up is going to be found in the description box just below this screen. Well, last week it was a mixed bag. We had two selections. Excello gave us a really good shout. I wonder how many of you were shouting as he went to the final fence in the Grand Sefton Chase. He kept on really well in the end, just surrendering second close home. So the each way money was landed at 10 to 1 Excello. So that was a decent start. But in the November handicap, Hot Fuss never really better than mid division. I was surprised. I thought he'd run really well with the ground to suit. But he's a horse I'm going to be keeping an eye on because I think he could be in for a good time of things over hurdles in some pretty hot handicaps this winter. So let's get straight onto it and go to my two selections for you for Saturday the 15th. And the first one is at Cheltenham and it's the big race. No great surprise there. The 220, the Paddy Power Gold Cup Handicap Chase. Now, at the time of this recording, and we're recording late Thursday afternoon, early evening, the official going at Cheltenham is good to soft, but you probably know that there's a big storm due to sweep into Britain, and the path does suggest that Cheltenham may get quite a lot of rain. And if that's the case, it will change from good to soft to something soft or even more testing. So, with that in mind, you want to be looking for horses, I think, that can probably handle a bit more give than is in the official description as of Thursday evening. There are 15 runners, and this is a very different kind of a race to the Paddy Power of 12 months ago, which you may recall when Protectorat, that very smart performer, ran off a massive mark of 167. And because of that, many of the field had to race from out of the handicap proper. This time, Jaguar, trained by Oliver Greenall and Josh Guerrero, is top weight. He's off a mark of just 148, and that means that all the field will run off their correct mark. It also means that, of course, this isn't quite as high class a renewal as we had last year with a horse of almost Gold Cup level heading the weights last year. But Jaguar has been a persistent tip for this race, having scooted up the handicap ranks last season by £30 over 2 stone, winning four of his last five races, and that culminated with a fine win in the Festival Plate at the big meeting here in March. And that was a race in which the company sergeant, trained by Gavin Cromwell, was second and is now £1 better off. It won't be as easy this time for Jaguar. He begins off a £9 higher mark than at the festival in March, but he has to be taken seriously nonetheless. The company sergeant's latest sixth in the Kerry National at Listowel was a solid enough run, and he is by no means out of the reckoning either if he brings his A game to the table. Now, one horse who's sure to be popular with punters, I think, is Il Ridotto for Paul Nicholls, who came out on top and won this race last year. And he arrives here set to race off just £1 higher this time because he failed to really build on that last season and ran a number of disappointing races, to be fair. Now, he was also third in this race in 2023. So undoubtedly, this is the time of year when he seems to be at his best. And of course, he is very much a course specialist. And there has already been good money for him on Thursday since the final declarations appeared. So I think we can expect another bold show from the Paul Nicholls trained Il Ridotto. Now, as I'm sure you know, Dan Skelton has gone very close to winning the Trainers' Championship a number of times in recent years. And these big races are very much in his sights. They're the bread and butter big races that he has to be winning in order to fend off Paul Nicholls, Nicky Henderson, and of course the reigning champion, Willie Mullins. He's running three here: Panic Attack, Risk in the Ground, and Holy Joe Smoke. Now, Risk in the Ground would be a possibility if the rain misses Cheltenham, but otherwise, I think he's going to struggle if it gets soft because he's better on top of the ground. Panic Attack. She runs for the first time this season, but the stable jockey Harry Skelton has chosen her. He's on board, and she is a talented mare on her day. While Holy Joe Smoke stays really well, so easy ground will probably bring his stamina into play. But I think he might just find things happening a stride too quick for him over this trip. We shall see. Hunter Legend for Venetia Williams will relish it if it comes up soft, like so many of the Venetia Williams horses. A lot of them are mudlarks. He won three of his last four handicap chases last season and improved £17 in the process. So, despite the lack of an outing, he would be interesting if the market signals some stable confidence for him first time back. Henry de Bromhead's coming up easy is on a four-timer following his latest win in a Killarney listed handicap chase, but whether he will be as effective, £10 higher on more testing ground remains to be seen. And de Bromhead's theatre native is entitled to improve on her seasonal return third at Limerick, and she is definitely not out of the reckoning. Now, I'm going to be backing two in this race, one of which I have already recommended to my clients at Out in Front. But I will certainly be having a saver on this one here at Sportsbet. There's very little between the two that I've put up. And the horse for you here is called Conyers Hill, trained in Ireland by Paul Nolan and the Mount of Sean O'Keefe. And this one, 16 to 1 each way for four places with a number of firms, including at the time of this recording, Bet365, Coral, and Ladbrokes. Now, Conyers Hill has yet to win over this far, but came home really strongly up the Cheltenham Hill in March when it stayed on into sixth in the Grand Annual Handicap Chase over 2 miles. And that is an ultra competitive, high quality handicap chase. And his 3 lengths second at Limerick last time out to Crow's 8 the Apple Tart, one of the best named horses in training. That was a fine first run of the season for Conyers Hill, and I think he should go close. Any easing of the ground would be no problem. He handles soft ground, and if he improves a few pounds on his very promising run last time, then I think surely Conyers Hill has to come into the reckoning. And a reminder, he is 16 to 1 each way for four places in the Paddy Power. And then to my second free selection here at Sportsbet on Saturday, the finale at Wetherby, where it'll be getting a bit dark, I think, by the time they run the 3:43, the 2 mile, 3 furlong handicap chase. The Storm not certain to reach West Yorkshire. Wetherby's right on the border of West and North Yorkshire. Um, so the good to soft description may well be accurate this time. Only 8 runners, but the dead 8 means each way for 3 places. Vintage Fizz is trained by Jed O'Keefe up the road from Wetherby at Middleham, and it turns out again just 7 days after being brought to a standstill by a faller in the Grand Sefton chase over the Grand National fences at Aintree last weekend. He didn't get very far that day, so no harm done, and I think Vintage Fizz can be given a fair shout here on the pick of his summer form. Now, the early market leader in what is an open race is ISAM for Tom Simons, off the track for more than 9 months since missing out by only a neck over 2 miles at Sandown in February on only his second chase start, having won on his chasing debut at Exeter over 2 miles, 3 furlongs a month earlier. He really is an unexposed horse, a useful handicap hurdler, but he will need to be fully wound up after his absence if he's going to score. But as I say, there could be more to come from ISAM. Cheltenham, trained by Dan Skelton, is a horse who I'm sure many of you know well. He's got plenty of ability, but is not the easiest of horses to predict. He's got top weight carrying 12 stones, but is actually £4 lower than when he started this campaign in September, and he hasn't really fired so far in his first two starts. That doesn't mean he's not going to do better this time, especially as he's dropping in class, so he should be thereabouts and cannot be discounted by any means. Now, the Nicky Richards team, based up in Cumbria at Greystoke Castle of Tarzan fame, is in good form um, at the moment, but His Paris Encore, I think, will have to defy a 6 month absence to win here. And this is a horse who usually needs a run or two to reach its peak. So I think I'd be opposing Paris Encore, despite the very good stable form at the moment. Serendipity for Joel Parkinson and Sue Smith will be a popular choice following its pleasing second place at Stratford on its first run of the campaign just a couple of weeks ago, and he rates a danger to all Serendipity. While Primos for Lucinda Russell and Michael Scudamore, based of course up in central Scotland, Britain's most northerly trainer, I believe, went close over 2 miles at Kelso in September, then was a little disappointing at Wetherby last time. Primo's wears first time cheap pieces in a bid to try and spark it into life. It will also step up in trip, but it won't be carrying my money. I'd just be concerned that the cheap pieces might liven him up plenty, but that might mean he doesn't have the stamina to get home over the trip. We'll see. I might be completely wrong. It has been known to happen. So my selection, well, Jerry Veal, trained by Mickey Hammond at Midland and ridden by former champion jockey Brian Hughes, is a horse who goes really well at this track and has 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds to his name here from 10 attempts. Many of those runs, though, have come over longer trips, but his record over this very trip, over the course and distance, reads 1-3-3-1-2-5. The fifth place coming last time on his seasonal return a fortnight ago, where he looked as if he'd was a bit on the portly side. He looked as if he'd come on for the run, and I think that will have brought him on plenty. He's now running off a mark a pound lower than when he beat his old rival Serendipity over the course and distance last January. Serendipity is forecast to be half the price. And Jerryville, to me, looks the each way bet in this race at 16 to 1 with most firms. So Jerryville is my choice in the finale at Wetherby to go with another 16 to 1 chance that I've put up for you. Conyers Hill in the Paddy Power, each way for 4 places there at 220 at Cheltenham. That's the way I see it. You may agree, you may disagree. Sometimes I see people having one or two things to say in the comments. They're entitled to their opinion. I invite them to try and do better if they think they can. I'll be back same time next week. Whatever you're backing, I wish you the very best of luck. Bye for now.